Hello. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live in another place or time? Well, of course you have. For some, it's the past. For others, it's some time out of a Star Trek future. We've all held that fantasy. But of course, we're here in Iredell County in the second decade of the 21st century of our Lord. And it's neat and right that we should be here now. Whether we have many decades behind us or many ahead, the God who numbers the hairs of our heads placed us here in this time and place for God's own pleasure and purpose, just as God put King David back then and there, or Solomon, or a young maiden named Mary, or a young woman named Esther. I urge you to read Esther's story. Living in Persia after the exile, Esther catches the eye of King Xerxes for her beauty and is made queen. But she keeps it a secret that she's a Jew. And for good reason, because Xerxes' right-hand man is a raging anti-Semite named Haman, who's intent on destroying the Jews who were there in Susa after the exile. Haman concocts a plan to trap one Jew in a crime and thereby convince the king to exterminate all the Jews. He convinces the king of this, and Xerxes makes the necessary proclamation. Well, when Esther finds out about Haman's plan, she tries to stay out of it. She tells her cousin Mordecai that there's nothing she can do. It's just too dangerous. Her cousin replies, "Well, don't think you're sitting high and dry there in the palace. If you don't do anything, deliverance will come from somewhere else, but maybe you've gotten where you are for just such a time as this." For just such a time as this. That's what cousin Mordecai said to Esther. Maybe the reason you're here, he says, is to do what needs doing. And you? Perhaps God has put you here in Iredell County in 2023 for just such a time as this. There's brokenness and hurt in this time for you to heal. There's a beautiful world in serious danger waiting for yours and my better environmental stewardship. There's truth waiting for you to tell. In this congregation, there are children learning from and no doubt teaching the adults who have offered themselves in a time such as this as teachers and mentors. There are hungry ears waiting for your musical gifts. There are hungry mouths you can feed. And there are financial needs to which you, in a time such as this, may be able to respond. Who knows? Maybe you have come for just such a time as this. Peter Gomes says the Esther story is an intimate story about personal opportunity. Like Moses, Esther too could have said, "Who, me? What can I do? I can't speak. Send someone else." But she didn't. Instead, like Isaiah, who said, "Here am I, send me," Esther said, "I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." Esther did not perish. Through courageous wit and wisdom, she preserved her people from slaughter. And to this day, the Jews keep Purim as a festival in which they commemorate these events of their deliverance and celebrate Mordecai and the inimitable Queen Esther. Opportunity is no accident. God relates with us, calling, challenging us through opportunities. We might not understand every step and every detail, but somehow as we grow in our faith, we grow in our understanding that God is at work in more ways than we'll ever know. We learn that God has purposes beyond us and our needs, beyond our churches and buildings, beyond heaven and its saints. God is at work for every man and woman, every girl and boy. God cares for all people's spiritual good and also for their health and work and wages and happiness. God is at work in Sunday school teachers, in loving grandparents, in hopeful children, and any who have the gutsy willingness to Let God work through them. They feed the hungry, heal the sick, point the lost home, and listen to the lonely and care for the hurting. If we open our eyes to see God at work, we'll discover that God's working in us. God works in us mightily here and is always presenting new opportunities. Our faithful response to God is to seize those opportunities. God has sent us here to redeem the time that we've been given and to be a part of God's work in the world. We're here in this place and time and not in second century Bible land. We're here because we, like the men and women of their day, have both a place and a purpose. So who knows? Perhaps you've come for just such a time as this. What opportunities are before us? See you soon.